Our next question comes from Dwayne via email. He just sent it through, so thank you, modern technology. Dwayne asks, if elected and told to vote along party lines, even if it opposes the views of your constituents, how would you react? We'll start with Ms. Robinson.
Hi, Dwayne. Thank you very much for that question. I have actually been asked that a couple of times, and for those people who know me, it's a very interesting question. I have very firm beliefs, and I understand that there are certain rules that you have to play with as a team member, but I am very strong in my convictions, and there is no doubt in my mind that, given the opportunity, I would have to vote the way that my conscience was. If that was in fact in conflict with what felt my constituents were thinking, then I would actually have to give serious consideration, and I believe that in the end that I would choose to vote for what I felt was right, and if that went against party policy, then I would have to suffer the consequences, because I have very strong personal integrity and I'm not willing to sell it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Blanche?
Hi, Dwayne. Great question. One I'm really happy to answer, in fact. At our constituency office opening party the other night, a great friend of mine who I've known since high school, 25 years probably, he asked me the same question. And so I gave him a coy grin and said, what would you think I would do? And I realized how desperate the situation was, because he looked at me and he said, I don't know. What would you do? And the grin came from the fact that the Green Party policy clearly states that Green Party members of Parliament can vote as they feel is their conscience, as they feel is what's right for their constituents. So Green Party, you vote for the Green Party, you don't have to worry about this situation. You don't have to worry about whether you can trust us. And I know trust is a problem. I saw it in my best friend's eyes. So you can be safe with us. Thank you. Oh, and last point. Scott mentioned earlier about his party, well, his personal opinion that the voting age should start at 16. That is a Green Party policy, just to let you know. Maybe you should join the Green Party, Scott.
Well, you know, there's a lot I think that all parties agree on, and that may be one that our party agrees on with you, hopefully at some time in the future, because I believe it would make a great difference in the democratic involvement of the youth in this country. But Dwayne, to answer your question, this is something that came up, of course, quite often during the by-election. And what I've tried to do as a member of Parliament is I try at all times to represent the position of what I believe is the majority of the constituents in this riding. I've done my very best to reach out and hear from constituents in many ways, through social media, through direct contact by phone to people who call in questions, and also with mail-ins and emails that I get in the office. I actually have voted against the party on a couple of occasions on issues which I felt so strongly about. I thought they needed to be done. The first was on a bill which was going to help support putting generic AIDS drugs into Africa. It's a bill that I supported, that our party, for various reasons, stood against. I thought that was a policy that I thought most of the people in this riding would support. I supported it. The second time was on a bill called Roxanne's bill, which I believed was a bill that would start us on a slippery slope to open up the abortion issue. I'm a pro-choice candidate. I stand strongly behind that. I think this is an issue that good-meaning people on all sides can reasonably debate and support, but I think it's not a debate we want to open up in Canada. I saw this was going to be a slippery slope, and it was brought forward by a member of my party, but I voted against that because I thought that was in the best interest of this riding.
Thank you. Mr. Natchik?
Thank you, Dwayne, for the question. We say that the CHP want to ensure that the people know what our policies and platforms are. So when they're going to vote for the CHP, they know what they can expect when we get to Parliament. So that is, we want to be clear on that. You know, I'm not going to be flip-flopping from door to door and trying to please everybody that I speak to at the door, or lobby groups that come forward. We're clear on our policy, and we're going to stick to it. So if I'm voted in, you're not going to find me changing my mind on our policies and our platform when we get there. Now, we found Bill Casey. He found out what it was like to go against the grain, and we all know Bill Casey in Colchester, Cumberland, and he was standing up for the Atlantic Accord and what happened, and he had to leave the he was removed from the Conservative government. We remember Beverly Desjarlais with the NDP, and she voted against the party line, and her parliamentary responsibilities were removed, and she didn't win her Churchill nomination afterwards. Remember Larry Spencer, who spoke his convictions in public, and he was removed from the Harper caucus. That was when the Alliance was changing into the Conservative Party. He wrote a book on it, Truth or Politics. And so, well, my time's up, but I think you got the message.
Thank you. Mr. Burrows?
Well, thank you, Dwayne, for the question. It's probably one of the most fundamental questions of this whole campaign, is how do we, as candidates for political parties, deal with this situation? And certainly it was one that I gave much thought to when I joined the Liberal Party and decided to run as a member of Parliament, to become a member of Parliament. Let's start off with first things first. We have a party platform that has been put forward by the Liberal Party. I'm fully comfortable with that platform and will fight for that platform to make sure they maintain that status as we go through in government. I'm a team player, and I see within the Liberal Party that opportunity to influence the team. And that is more important sometimes as you go along, that you can have influence in the back rooms. You can't always accomplish 100% of what you want to accomplish, but you can move things in a direction that will be a benefit to your constituents. But still, that doesn't answer Dwayne's fundamental question. And the fundamental question, I think, is answered by me. And at the end of the day, after I'm through in politics, I plan to live in this community. I want to be a member of this community and have friends in this community. I don't expect I'll be living in Mr. Ignatieff's backyard at that time. So at the end of the day, you are the people who I'm responsible for. And as we go through this process together, one commitment I'll give to you is that when I'm speaking on your behalf and when I'm speaking back to you, I don't enjoy the speaking notes that come from head office. I like to talk in my own words and what's important to you and what's important to me.
Thank you very much.